Welcome back, everyone, to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Hey, it's been a minute. We know. Sorry, guys. 6 weeks. We have not been on the show. And boy, we sure have missed you. Missed everybody on the panel. You know, life got in the way. Sophia and I were talking a few minutes ago before we went live, and we were just talking about how May was crazy for everybody. Just some crazy energy, but things are leveling out. It's looking good. It's good to see everybody. Hi, Theresa, our sweet Theresa. Good to see you. Grandpa Hi. Brian, always a pleasure. Sophia, Witchy Poo, love seeing you here. Hello. The Adorables are on their way home and they'll be with us shortly. Who's your friend there, Theresa?
That's Ruby's new friend.
Yeah.
Oh, we just drive Uncle Frank crazy at night when he's trying to sleep.
That's funny. That's too cute. We're gonna kind of let everybody mosey in. It's been a while since we've been on, so hopefully people get the notification. Then we'll get into the topic, and the topic is Ascension: Unlock Your Potential. You know, none of us would be here today had we not unlocked the potential that we were capable of. And I'm just so proud of all of us up here doing this and making it all happen. We've been doing this since 2020, 5 years, over 350 shows. And we come to you every Friday night. And just we are passionate about talking about ascension and self-development, self-love, self-worth, all that stuff. It's so important, especially now when more and more people are waking up, which is really cool. So I see you, Mary Mansfield. Boy, I sure missed you. I was thinking about you the other day. I was hoping to see you tonight. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Elizabeth Bauer, good to see you as well. Always a pleasure. Hope things are well with you and life is good. So what have you guys been up to? Theresa, what have you been doing lately? You've had a lot on your plate, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've been making improvements to the house because I was getting it ready for sale, and it's in the multiple listings and it's for sale.
Wow. How long have you been living there?
21 years, 6 months.
Wow. Well, so this is a big move. Talk about reaching your potential.
Yeah. So while you're doing all this, you're also house hunting where you're going to go. And I couldn't have done it without the help of you and your mom.
Oh, thanks.
You know the area inside and out. Reno, Sparks, you name it.
Yeah. So I live in Reno, Nevada. Teresa's going to be moving to Sparks, Nevada, which is right there. It's very close.
15 minutes.
Not even that. You're driving down the road. Next thing you know, you're in Sparks.
That's where you had your business, yes.
Yeah, I had my business in Sparks.
It's like a stone's throw away from her and her mom.
Yeah.
And they've been doing the house hunting and doing virtual tours for me and sending me photos and taking me on tours and meeting the neighbors. And I just have had a really good time getting to know the different communities there. And I have a contingency. I have a contract on a place, and I'm waiting for park approval. So everybody put good intents out there for our dreams to come true. And hopefully this one will sell quickly so that the timing works out with everything. But it's been a lot to do, right, Sophia?
Yeah.
I mean, major changes, not little changes, major ones, and some little ones. But it's been good. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you, beloved abstract. Yes, Reno 9-1, favorite show. Yeah, I hear that a lot. In fact, when I'm in a chat room, I always say it's Laurie from Reno 911.
Yeah.
Truth Seeker, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Boy, I miss seeing everybody. It's so good to see you all. Come on in. Check it out. We're just kind of doing a little bit of catch up here and seeing what everybody's been up to. Good to see you, Nick and Jasmine. How are the adorables? How are you guys doing? What have you been up to?
So I went back into management, so now I'm doing management again, which I mean it's good. I like it. It's
Good
more
money.
better.
Benefits?
Yeah. Eventually, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's just, work goes home with me now. So I mean it's fine. But I like the people I work with, and when I was looking for a job, I had a reading with Sophia and with the runes, and they're like, yeah, ask for this, do this, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna wing it. And no, they were right. They were so right. And so
Yeah. Nice.
I'm pretty good right now. Yeah.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm going through the 12 Hercules trials.
Yeah.
Boy.
Explain.
Just work
Yeah.
and sucking.
Okay. What does that mean?
Shut up, Sophia. Shut up. Shut up.
Let it be known it wasn't me this time.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, he got a new supervisor, and his old supervisor is the type of person that will try to make you look bad so that they can make themselves look better.
Oh.
Yeah.
But no, I'm multi-talented, and we're down people. So me being multi-talented, I'm supporting everywhere else besides where I'm supposed to work at. So by the time when I do get to where my position is, it's a mess.
I see. Yeah. Good to see you, Scotty boy. Welcome. Good to see you. How are you? Hope everything is well.
There's something else going on, and Laurie and I can tell you later, and it'll come up. We've been tapping into our root source energy deep from within. So we've been connecting. Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
So remember that mark that I had from when I came back from the cruise?
Yes. Yeah.
So I still have it. It's still here.
Wow.
You can see it down here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's starting to fade.
It is. It's starting. It's weird because now it's all the way down my foot. And the two doctors that I saw that said that if it spreads to go to the ER. So I went to the ER, and they said that my white blood cell count is normal. I'm not fighting any type of diseases. The specific type of Barcelona tick disease or whatever that we thought it was, they said that there's no testing for it. There's no way to test for it. But they said that the regular Lyme disease I was clean for, but they said since my white blood cell count is normal that I'm not really fighting anything. So I went back and I went to see, I did a meditation. Basically, they were trying to get me to tap into my roots because they said that it was the spirit of my ancestor that got attached to me so I could look into my roots.
Isn't that fascinating?
Isn't that interesting?
So have you done any tapping in? Have you discovered anything yet?
I have. So I went to go see Jim, and he basically told me that my ancestor and I were really similar. So her name is, go figure, Maria, right? And then she's like, I was like, Maria, like the saint? She's like, the saint? Like who? Because once I identified who it was, because when we did the reading, he put his hand over the mark, and he's like, this is not your energy at all. And I was like, no, it's not. And he's like, it's a woman's energy. So he went into, he did it. And once I got to meet her and like identify who she is, I was like, Maria, like the saint? And she's like, the saint? Who's the saint? And then he's like, no, she's really old. She's a really old spirit. Like this is like, I don't even think she knows like what the Christian stuff is, right? And she's like, no, I know the Christian stuff. She's like, they came to the island, but like it wasn't anything I was familiar with.
Fascinating.
And she corrected me. I was like, so you're not named after the saint? She's like, no, I'm named after the sea. It's Maria.
Oh.
So it made me think of the name Maria completely different. Because the name in Spanish, mar, that's how you say ocean. She's like, no, I'm named after the sea. I'm not named after no saint. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow. And how did you connect to the energy? What was your way of connecting?
Meditation. So it was
Okay.
meditating with my guides. I have like one set main guide that like I wouldn't say is the leader, but she holds more authority over everyone else, if that
Definitely
makes
the
sense.
mom figure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I sat with her and I sat with this energy because I remember that the night before the mark showed up that I heard a voice that said, where do you want your scar? And I said, anywhere but my face.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah,
why
really.
the
Not the
scar?
face.
I don't
touch with the face.
understand
I was like,
the
not my
connection.
face.
The correct
What's the
answer probably
connection
would have been no
with the
scar.
scar?
What are you talking about?
So from what she told me is I'm supposed to look into my roots, like this, like Spanish magic, and I'm supposed to find someone that knows about the mark that could teach me more about my lineage in Spanish magic, not in like, if that makes sense, is what she told me. She said someone that knows her type of magic would know what that mark is.
Oh, and is this something that's going to be permanent?
No. Jim said that it will go away between 2 to 6 months.
Okay.
So
But
it is.
yeah,
Wow.
but
It used to be known in Middle Ages as the mark.
The mark.
I know it sounds so sinister, right?
Mark.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
They
dun.
chant
Yeah.
it,
Of
worship
course, make it
with
all weird.
the
Get
mark.
weird about it. Yeah.
Gotta make it sound important.
Uh-huh.
Voting.
Yeah.
No, fear. You don't
Absolutely
enjoy what you
fascinating.
fear, you know, and when you fear something, you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
immediately label it as the mark of the evil one.
Yeah. To me, fear is just a liar. It's just
Well, but
lying
it's
to you.
okay to be marked with, you know, the stigmata. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Howard.
Yep.
See what I
Hi,
mean?
Drum Stud for you. Good to see you.
That is actually Mary Wynn's.
Drum stud.
Oh, that's right. Mary, sweet Mary.
We have
How are
both
you?
Marys
Oh, she
tonight.
changed
Yeah.
her name.
Fantastic. Okay.
Okay.
Right on.
Scotty
Yep.
boy. Hi, Scotty
Scotty
boy.
boy. Yeah. He says
Long
hello.
time no see.
Ahoy. Awesome. Well, we're just doing a little catching up, waiting to get some people into the chat room so we can get things going. So tonight we're talking about ascension and unlocking your potential. And all of us up here have been, and especially you, Jasmine, lately, and of course, Nick, you've had a lot of changes going on in your life, and this is positive. And spirit, you've been tapping into that energy and it's been assisting you. So that's the really cool part of spirituality and connecting with guides and understanding that there's way more going on than just the human experience, and that they're there to help us. And they seem to be helping you a lot. I've experienced it in my lifetime. Theresa's been experiencing it. She's got a lot going on right now. And Sophia too. Remember Sophia when we first met you, and how I think just getting on here and actually speaking your mind was really hard in the beginning. But
Yeah.
for you now, it's like, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. You've got some Zoom classes going on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, things are definitely been in high gear since April last time I was on here. But yeah, I've got Zoom discussion groups on Monday nights. All Monday nights are full now, and then I'm introducing Zoom runes, which would be the alternate Tuesday to the in-person rune talks. And now I'm one of the instructors at Camp Chesterfield.
Wow,
So that's new for
congrats.
third quarter. Yeah, no pressure.
Well, you're an amazing teacher. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you're stepping into your potential by being a teacher and
Yeah.
a mentor to many others, which is really fantastic. And it's exciting to see all that going on. So congrats for you as well.
Thank you. I am
Yeah.
grateful. I am blessed. I'm just taking it one reading, one phone call at a time, and just enjoying it.
Good, good. And you too, Grandpa Brian, you've got some interesting things popping up. Anything you'd like to talk about? What's going
Yeah,
on with you?
just work and relaxing. And like I was telling you guys earlier, I've tapped into a new energy source.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Uh, It is the crown of glory, but it is not the same crown of glory that they talk about in the Bible. These are 13 stones that surround the core of Earth, and they record not only all of Earth's information, but they record all the information in this galaxy, and they relay that message, the information to Source.
Fascinating.
So it's fascinating, and I'm hoping maybe starting the beginning of September to be involved in a new project that will really, hopefully, unlock my potential.
Excellent.
We're going to try to limit it to 10 people so it's not so big, and we're actually going to get together and try to telepathically communicate with each other.
Fantastic.
So,
have you learned any new information from this source of information? Anything interesting that you might want to share with the group?
Well, one of the last questions I did ask was about what is going on over in the Middle East with Israel and Iran and all that, and how it dates way back. And the information that I got from them was basically it's a negative energy that was opposing like a benevolent being, so that there would be constant war there, so it could feed off of that energy.
Ancient conflict. Yes, I agree with that.
And it's still feeding off of that conflict, because it created that conflict knowing that it was, that conflict would always be there and it would have a place to feed. And that was very interesting, finding that out through the means that I found it out through. So once I get a little more comfortable communicating with it, and then that's when I'll start getting into some deep trances and have questions that Trina can ask the Crown of Glory and explain in depth.
How do you connect with it? Are you connecting in meditation? Do you connect with the pendulum? How are you connecting to this energy?
Right now, I'm using the pendulum because I want to make sure who I'm communicating with safe, get used to that energy, as well as it getting used to my energy before I really get into and allow that energy to come into me and say whatever it needs to say.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to do a safe route on this.
Yeah, fascinating. So you've had some negative energy come in, kind of trickster energy, so to speak?
Yes. I think it was the second time I was trying to connect with the Crown of Glory when I ask, because I always ask a yes question, show me yes, show me no, ask a yes question, ask a no question. Then I was like, are you of love and light? And it said no. I immediately dropped my pendulum, broke all connections with it, walked away. It said no. Got my smudge stick, smudged it, threw salt on it, got dragon's blood out for protection. I did everything, and then walked away for 15 minutes. And then I came back, picked it up, started using it again. When I said, are you 11 light? It said yes. Because like Laurie was saying, when they have to tell you the truth. So when you ask if you're 11 light, they have to tell you the truth. And when it said no, I knew I wasn't connected to a good energy.
Well, I'll tell you something. I've never actually had one come out and say no.
I have.
I've heard a laugh.
Ooh.
Or a snicker, or dead silence. What, you're not going to answer me? Dead silence. But I've never had them actually confess, no, I'm not. Never.
Yeah. They have to ask truthfully. I mean, they have to answer truthfully.
Yeah, they'll make a cynical, like,
yeah.
I'm curious, Sophia, have you ever experienced that?
Only on Fridays and Saturdays.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting 29 years on this planet. There's been
29 years.
Hey, until they know that shit's a lie. Have I had experiences? A lot. of different types. I mean, we that's all another show all in of itself. That's a good idea. Write that down.
Yeah.
But nothing. I use a pendulum just about every day if I have the privilege to do so with readings, and I've never had it been what I would call hijacked. But it's different for everybody. I've had my see, I don't mind a spirit board. It's
Mhm.
kind of like a weapon, if you will. So it has guidelines and rules, for lack of a better word, you know.
Mhm.
And as long as people realize that if you're going to interact with the unseen world, keep an even mind, no matter
Mhm.
what happens. If you're excitable or you scare easy, go do something else. Do us all a
Mhm.
favor and go do
Yeah.
something else.
Mhm.
It's okay. You can watch, the replay.
It's real easy to be manipulated, isn't it? And I found
Yeah.
that out in the very beginning because it would tell me things that was just trickster energy.
It's a
Once I
little
learned, once I learned how to protect myself, it was like if I did get that kind of energy, I would just get the biggest ball of love in my heart and I would just push it right out to it.
Yeah.
And
I
it would
was
just
I was
gone.
in that little crystal light cave place I used
Oh
to
yeah,
go
your
to.
meditation cave. Yeah.
Yeah, and it collapsed, so they don't let anybody in there anymore.
Aw, good thing
But
it
I
didn't
used to
collapse on
love
you.
getting in that little pod, and I would start up a conversation. And one time I did get not a direct no, but a question for an answer. So that's another way you can tell,
Mhm.
it's because they think they're being clever, so this energy will come in with a sarcastic remark or a question. Go ahead, Sophie.
I like what GB's talking about, and that's something on one of those Zoom discussion groups that I started out with right off the bat is getting to know your guides, kind of like a handle and a vetting process. So when I'm working with my joy guide, he has a color, a shape, and an orientation. And if I get anything but that, I know that that's not him. That's very important to know who
Mhm.
you're working with, not necessarily what they're capable of, because I don't think any of us will really know, but building trust and rapport with your personal team first before you go knocking on other doors. A lot of it is aligning with your allies before you decide to make your debut into any kind of spirit walking, astral projection, shamanic, whatever, because we're not meant to do this by ourselves, and are you called to do it? Just because it looks cool and it sounds cool doesn't mean it's healthy for each individual, because it's not.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just kind of had to throw it out there. I like the vetting.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yep.
And over time, building rapport with your guides,
Mhm.
it's more. It will
The
click
discernment comes
faster.
easier. Yeah.
Right. Right. It's
Mhm.
just like wearing that familiar pair of blue jeans. You get dressed in the dark. You're like, yeah, I know which ones these are. Right.
Mhm.
You just know you have a connection.
Yeah.
Important. Meditation, 100%.
Yep.
Cool, cool. Hey,
Cool.
there's
Jasmine?
Trina. There she is. Hey, Trina.
Yeah, I was gonna
see
say.
Gazakov, Gary is in there. He's our new
Chloe, good to see
Steiner,
Chloe. Mhm.
our very own Steiner
Yeah.
guru. Right?
Jasmine, you were saying?
So I have recently been asked by a couple of friends to help them with like developing their spirituality, like just as beginners, like as baby people who don't know they know about it, but they don't know how to approach it or how to start that journey.
Mhm.
I basically say it's I don't even know what to call it, if it's like spiritual 101 or like the basics of spirituality,
Yeah.
but basically grounding and centering. You have to learn how to ground and you have to know how to center. knowing your own energy is like what Sophia's talking about, because when you know your own energy, like if you know what your vibration is, if you know what you feel like, it's going to be so much easier to tell, like if someone's monitoring you, if you go to an antique store and you see something's like possessed, or you know what I mean, if there's a bad vibe, like knowing your own baseline is going to help you so much into knowing when it's this guide versus this guide, whether it's a spirit guide or a nature guide, whether it's both. But you have to be able to have a good baseline of what your own energy is. Once you have that, then you go into shielding energy, like protection energy. That's when you like you start, and everybody has their own protective shield. Everybody protects themselves differently. Then when you're shielding and protecting, then that's how you'll do like your cleansing, your self-cleansing, because once you ground and center, then it's easy to cleanse yourself once you're grounded into Gaia. And then the last one is meditation. But a lot of people have their own ways of meditating. But meditating for me was learning how to listen to the guides, learning how to listen to spirit, learning how to hear those small little synchronicities of, oh, there's angel numbers. Oh, why am I getting this funny taste in my mouth? Oh, why is my ear ringing? Because these are all communication styles of said guides. And it's all about quieting your own mind, quieting your own anxieties, just being present and observing and listening to what they have to say.
That's an excellent point. And it's very important to understand too, that when you are dealing with these energies and spirit, that anything positive you can trust. Anything that comes in that's negative, no way, you don't want anything to do with that, because pure positive love and light is true spirit, and that's your true makeup when you're not of the body. So if anything comes in trying to tell you otherwise, or makes you feel weird, or gives you the impression that it's not good, go ahead, Theresa.
No, I was agreeing 100%.
Yeah,
because it's like when you were touring those spaces for me with your mom.
Yes,
you were picking up. It's not just when something's communicating with you. It's when you feel that energy in that environment too. We've talked about this before on the program, where you can walk into a building and just know it's not the place for you to be. And so, but likewise, you also got the impression on the one you walked into that this is home.
Well, I toured many homes for you, and I can tell you most of them were really not good. The first one, I came out of the stairs, came off the stairs and biffed it, hit the ground. And I immediately, as soon as I got to the front door, I turned around and walked out, because I was like, nope. And then as soon as I hit the stairs, I fell. And I almost hurt my phone. Yeah, I actually sprained my ankle. It was pretty bad. And I was down for about a week, solid week. But then I get to that last place, and I walk in the door, and it was just love and light. Just the whole place was lit up with light, and it felt so much better. So I knew this was a good place for you. But isn't it interesting how all that plays out and works? And when you're paying attention to it and you see the signs and you know it. I had a kind of an interesting experience this week. I had a dear friend of mine who had passed away in March of this year. And I was at the grocery store, and as I'm walking into the grocery store, two steps behind her mother and a good friend of hers. And we stopped and chatted and talked, and next thing you know, I find out that she had passed away from lung cancer, and it was pretty rough. And so we ended up going to lunch. Our friend and I went to lunch and had a very long discussion, and pretty much just gave her a reading about what was going on with the other side, how it all works. And Lanny, if you're out there watching, thanks for watching and being a part of it, and having such an open mind and really listening to what I had to say. So it felt good to give you messages from Tracy, your loved one. And also want to give a shout out to Renee as well. hope you're watching, Renee, and maybe we'll get you on one of these days. But turns out Theresa's realtor in Sparks is very spiritual, very intuitive, and really connected as well. So we had a fascinating discussion. So it was really cool because now I'm starting to meet more and more people that are open to this, and that's really showing me that the world is starting to shift and change. And
you can start building a network of people just about anywhere once you're opening to your potential and reaching out to them and just being your honest self about stuff. You never know who you're going to reach or who you're going to connect with. And with these people, it was like, what is the saying, Laurie? You got to know what you don't want before you know what you do
know what you do.
We had some really interesting players, some very interesting characters.
Thank you, Scotty Boy.
Spirit just kind of nudges you in the right direction. But you're opening your own inner intuition.
Feels good to give healing.
Yeah.
Feels really good to give healing. You were going to say something, Jasmine?
Yeah, I was gonna mention about like when you start aligning with where your path is supposed to be or who you really are, or like how spirit, you know, when you guys come together with your plans. It's funny because like a lot of this spirituality stuff, like I do, and I practice it and I believe it, and like I have such a strong connection between like spirituality is mental health is spirituality kind of thing. There's just once you start going more into spirituality, then there's like more practices that you can do, but it all starts in the mind, right?
Yes.
So once I started like letting go of trying to be so logical all the time and like being like, okay, sometimes I don't have to explain this, right? I'm just going to give into whatever spirit is telling me. And I had a couple of people reach out to me for animal readings, and I was so nervous about doing those animal readings. But once I started doing it, it was so
Doesn't it feel great?
It was so amazing because like all of a sudden I'm talking to one cat and he's like right, and then they're like, okay, can you talk to the other one? And I'm like, and the other one's like, oh my god, like you had like he was such a sassy, like he was talking to me about everything, and the other cat was just like, you know, like when you have to prod someone, like, so how did that make you feel? So what did you want? So blah blah blah. And he's like, it was fine, it was good. What do you mean? And I mean the litter box is gross sometimes, but it's fine. And I'm like, okay.
Isn't it amazing to know what they're thinking and their sense of self?
But it's amazing. I love it. I wish I could talk to more animals. But going off of what you and Theresa were saying, these things found me. Like I didn't go out and look for them. Right. Somehow, somewhere through the grapevine, someone knew that I was studying it, and they're like, "Oh, I passed your number along to this person. They're gonna probably reach out to you." But I think that's the most amazing part is that I didn't go looking for it; it found me.
You became the conduit, and spirit knows it and knows there's a connection there, and they're able to come through.
Sometimes there's something going on where one of them could be an inner reflection of your part of your own self. Yes, I went through a number of them here as well until I found one that I told Laurie, this person is, how do I say this? An emanation. Part of her soul is an emanation of part of mine. Previous lifetime, and one of the players that I played in a previous lifetime, one of my higher self representatives, came right out of, I mean, from the way she looks to the way I envision her and her talking to the fact that she's got the same nationality and background. I mean, she even has the features, you know.
So you're saying this person is a fractal of your own energy. You share the same.
So Spirit sent that fractal to me to help me
with what
I'm trying to do, because I was hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
So Spirit, I know as soon as I started opening up and tapping into what we were doing meditations with our root source energy guides as part of our collective, but they're part of it deep within, you know, it's part of your higher self, but it's also part of your Krista spirit, if you believe in that. But it's just the deep inner light within. And see, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Laurie will get to in a minute, but we bring such light in, so much light. We're shining on others, but we're also opening our own portal of light, and that reflects back. So
you serve the light. You serve the light. And that's what's really cool about it.
So Theresa, would you say that was like, were you guys like a fractal of like something whole, or would you guys say that you were just in the same spiritual family?
No, it's not same spiritual family. It's a wholeness of the oneness within. So it's a fractal of the oneness within is what I get. And so if I, as a soul, the half of my soul that has this ongoing energy from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, it fluctuates and changes as it grows and balances, but there are certain personality traits, there are certain qualities or characteristics, and they become characters in the human form. And so they travel with you through the different timelines. If everything's happening everywhere all at once, there are many, many, many fractals of the one, and we're all related. That's why I can see reflections of myself in each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see you reflected back at me. I get that. And I get bits, but this was really powerful. This was just like, oh my God, I'm communicating with myself.
Yeah. Or like a different version of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like I met someone like that. Like, people say that we're sisters, but we're not closely related at all. Like, they say that we have the same haircut, we have the same glasses, we have the same voice, we both came from California, we're both Mexican. The only, like, I like cats, she likes dogs.
You share that same energy marker. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you can meet, there are others that are part of your soul family, definitely.
Yeah.
And you may have had some lifetimes with them until you get to know them. Sometimes you recognize them instantaneously.
Yeah.
I recognize her instantly.
Yeah, y'all want to talk about energy markers? You know something trippy that happened to me recently? I think I've told you guys about it, but I don't think I told Chad about it. So I had a dream, and it felt like it was a week long, and I got teleported to some type of cruise. Right? It was a different me. I got transmigrated into a different me that died on the boat. And the girl that I was with in that universe was distraught and somehow met some type of medium or something, and they pulled me. They pulled me in there to summon me for whatever reason. For some reason, I got pinged as a
wow.
So they told me what was going on. So I was like, okay, so I used my energy to get my other me back temporarily, so they could enjoy their cruise together and say goodbye before he had to go.
Yeah,
that was bizarre. I've never
Wowza.
experienced something like that, like a dimension hopping, transmigration, like it was weird. It was a little
WYRD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still couldn't swim in that one. So
Interesting.
that stayed the same. I didn't get to see my reflection though, so I don't know if I looked completely different or similar or not.
But you knew it was you, and you knew it was a different aspect of yourself, right?
Yeah, it like energetically wise, it was like copy paste. Like
copy paste. Like, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, I feel like that's why it was so easy for me to just whoop.
Yeah,
here we go. So
yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I have a quick video to go over with you, and we have about 4 slides to talk about ways you can unlock your potential. So let's go ahead and do some shifting here. And I'll go ahead and play. It's a quick video. It's only 3 minutes, but it helps put things into perspective. And then after the video, we'll talk a little bit about those things that we can do. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go, folks. Enjoy. Unlocking your potential. Each and every one of us contains infinite potential. It comes in the way of our intuition, gifts, and talents. And it is our personal responsibility to cultivate and nurture them. This transformation is endowed deep within our soul. We come into lives with the veil of forgetfulness, a type of amnesia that protects us so that we may focus only on our current incarnation without being overly influenced by our past lifetimes. The purpose of life is to remember who and what you are, a cosmic infinite soul having a human experience. and to witness what you are ultimately capable of. But how do we unlock this energy? And how do we trust this within ourselves? When we bring in more light into our lives and expand the life force of unlimited love that is always available to us, we release our inherent purpose and our special gifts and abilities. We learn to open the door to Source Creator itself, and it is up to you to activate your light codes, creating a space that opens those doors and pathways for our own personal growth. Dreams and intuition scratch the surface and are just a few of the potential building blocks to self-realization, and the fundamental process, as well as incrementally over time, building trust within you. In the Earth School, we must learn to trust others first, before we can trust ourselves. Moreover, trust is not earned. It is a stationary fact you must come to terms with. We as a society are rarely taught in public schools how to be honest with ourselves, and the value of our own feelings and intuition are not supported. We guard against it, and from a young age we are conditioned to be honest, but often do not have the strength or even the knowledge of how to be honest with ourselves, let alone anyone else. This can be a very uncomfortable feeling, and this is where your growth stems from. Suffering, lack, and trauma are catalysts for self-growth and soul expansion, and are the reason you are here now. So what are the keys to unlocking your potential? This involves identifying and developing your strengths, and most importantly, overcoming limitations and pursuing meaningful goals. It's a journey of self-discovery, growth, and continuous improvement. Now, let's join the panel and break down the key strategies to unlocking your potential. Awesome. Let me do some clicky here. Okay.
Well done, dude. Well done.
Very good.
Thanks. Appreciate that. I do spend a lot of time on it, and I do a lot of reflecting, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. So let's talk about some of the ways that we can find this potential that really exists in all of us. And one of the first things I really learned to do was creative expression. So finding outlets for creative expression, such as art, music, writing, or dance, to tap into that inner creativity and intuition. Maybe you like to paint, maybe you like to play music, maybe you like to create music. All of those things really helps you kind of tap into that source part of yourself, and that's a way to express it. So real important on the creative expression. And then we move into that mind-body practices. Explore practices like yoga, Tai Chi, which combines physical movement with mindfulness. Now, I do a little bit of Tai Chi, and it's really amazing. Tai Chi is really all about flow and feeling it, and stretching and moving. It's really good for seniors too. So if you're interested in that mind-body practice, that's a really good way to kind of center yourself and to really become one with yourself in that moment. I also, one thing I like to do is we have a tree stump in the backyard, and I like to sit on the tree stump, face the sun, close my eyes, and connect to source. And that's a very powerful way to do it. So find something that works for you. Also, you can explore different spiritual paths. Like, for example, for me, I did a lot of different traditions. I started to learn about different spiritual, religious traditions to kind of, broaden your understanding and find what resonates with you. A lot of esoteric type stuff. I think religion is really good as well because it gives you some of the fundamentals, but there's so many variations, different types of religions. You have, Buddhism, um, India, that kind of stuff. All these different things that you can kind of connect with and learn about. And that is a good way to expand your consciousness and also open yourself to new ideas and concepts. So that's super important as well. And another really amazing thing is community engagement, very much like what we're doing here. We're connecting with, like-minded individuals, spiritual communities or groups. I know that I have probably 50 or 60 spiritual channels that I watch. I don't watch a lot of regular TV. Everything I watch is YouTube because I really want to feed the mind. And I don't want to sit through mindless commercials and drama, other people's drama. I'm not interested in that anymore. So there's a shift that happens when you come into spirituality, and your focus becomes really different. And it is fascinating. Also, service, engage in acts of service and compassion to connect with something larger than yourself. You just, once you start learning all of this, you really want to pass it on to others. You want to play and be that example for others to learn and grow and experience what you're experiencing. And that's really where the spiritual expansion or that ascension feeling comes into play. And also finding meaning, seek that deeper meaning in difficult situations, as they can be powerful catalysts for spiritual growth. Always find what's right about the situation, what's good about it. Pull that out instead of focusing on the negative. That will help a lot. Because if you can see the positive in everything, the negative just can't get a foothold, and you're not stuck in that negative energy. So being mindful about your positivity really is the key to the unlocking that spiritual growth and your potential. And then also life, or you want to live with intention, purpose, identify your core values and live in alignment with them. Barry Chad was making a comment about he can't feel anything. I feel the same way. I can't even squash a little bug. If I have a spider in the house, I put it in a cup and I take it out, send it on its way. I just have no desire to take any life, no matter how minute or small, because I have a true respect for it now. And that's a good feeling. I really like that. Intentionality, sorry about that. Make conscious choices that reflect your spiritual beliefs and values, just as I said with the bugs, and by actively engaging in these practices, you can unlock your spiritual potential and experience a deeper sense of meaning, purpose, and connection in your life, and things will shift and change. Cultivate mindfulness and self-reflection in natural settings. Now, this is a biggie because when you start to connect with the nature, with trees, I love hugging trees. When I go to my sister's house, I have a favorite tree that she's got in her backyard. And the first thing I want to do is just go hug that tree and just really connect with it. I love watching nature, the birds, all the wildlife that's in your yard. From butterflies to, dragonflies, that kind of stuff. It's really quite fascinating. Hope I'm not boring you all. You've either had a really long day or this is boring to you.
I had a really long day.
All righty then.
Long day.
We'll just keep moving then. All righty.
Yeah, me too. You're doing great, Laurie.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, and meditation, you want a regular meditation practice that can help you quiet the mind and increase self-awareness and connect with the inner self. You can do all forms of meditation. You don't have to sit there and just, om and do all that, although you can do that. But there are many times during the day that you're meditating. You can meditate to a degree when you're driving because you're on automatic pilot, and you can do a lot of thinking and reflecting when you're driving. You can also do a primal scream. I'm not sure if you guys are into any of this primal screaming, but apparently, and Sophia, you know about this. A good place to do it is in the car. Just when you get in the car and you close the door and you're driving down the road, let out the most amazing scream you could possibly do, and it helps connect. It also helps release some of the tension and the things that are going on in the day, but it helps you to connect to the spiritual side of yourself, that soul, on a soul level. It's quite amazing. Try it.
It took me so long, Laurie, to realize that that was actually a good thing.
Yes, primal
because I used to
screaming.
feel so, and there's nobody around to make you feel guilty. So if you're feeling guilty about something, it's you. You know, and it's like I would do that and I'd go, oh God, I'm a psycho. And I'd look around to see if anybody would, you know, oh my God, you know. But you need that. It's like a pressure valve.
And it opens the throat chakra.
Yeah.
And you feel better, right, Sophia? How do you feel after you do that primal scream?
I feel invigorated because I generally incorporate it with a thunderstorm. So yeah,
it's fascinating.
But don't you also do? I don't want to call it chanting. It's like what you do with the, you know, when you do the runes.
Yeah.
When you recite the runes, that guttural sound.
Yeah, I forgot I did that off
Doesn't
camera.
that release you too?
It does. When you say the Elder Futhark in Secession, it, in my experience, creates a sacred space or a thin space, if you will, but kind of like the spirit board, just because you know how to do it, you know. Yeah, you have to be careful with things like that.
You can also do humming. Humming is really good
as
well.
With your eyes closed, you can see things on the back of your eyes. At least I do.
I liked it. I like it when you do the rune. You know, what do you call it?
There's a couple. Some people call it the Freya Oswin, where you say the Elder Futhark in order. It's funny that you bring it up because I was just thinking about that.
Can you do it? So
yeah, do it.
An idea of the vibration.
Hang on.
It's really good.
Fehuru stories zanzus rido canas gable hunyo hagalas now these isa yira I was Petro algis sawelo tiwas bercano ehwas manas lagus ingras dagas othala.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
And that
Friday
is really. Now I've heard the guys do it, and oh man, or some of the women, and man, they can really, when they bring that energy in, they do it a couple of times, they can really go deep with it.
It can get shamanic and cyclical, and there's a lot. See, like me just doing that, I'm just like, all right, spirit's like, hello. I'm like, how's it going?
Yeah, you like call them in. Hey, now it's important to know too, Sophia, that this isn't about calling in negative energy or anything demonic of that nature. It's just an ancient form of connecting to spirit. Am I right?
Yeah, energy is neither good nor bad. The frequency and vibration determines the nature of a thing. So if someone wants to call in positive or negative, they're really talking about projective and receptive. And while there's the law of gender and the law of vibration and everything else, educate yourself.
Most definitely. All right. And then the go ahead, Theresa. I'm sorry.
Just one last little piece of that. I would say, and I used to do something very similar because I have some of the shamanic incarnations too. And I would tell you that the more, it's like a release. It's like Christians do it with tongues. They call it speaking in tongues.
Yeah, they do. And
Um,
Pentecostals
and
get down with that
they,
action.
yeah, but where I'm going with it is sometimes you can't find the words to say.
Fair.
Sometimes you just have the emotion and you're trying to release it, trying to ground and trying to push it out. And the vocals can really help you with that. So
True.
whatever your method is, I mean, it could be an American Indian chant. It could be the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in Buddhism. But I used to do that. And if you're meditating on something that you need or want, not need, but really want, or really need, either way, you can focus on that while you're doing the chanting. But if you're upset, if you have those moments, I had one this morning. I mean, I've been having a lot of them here lately. But if you have these little moments and you just want to release that valve, and you can't find a car to go put in and scream, you can start that chanting, and you're just releasing that. I know, and it gets built and you build it and it built, and then you just release it, and it really does feel good. Because afterwards you're like walking on clouds,
Yeah.
So it's okay to do it without thinking that you're bringing in something. You're not trying to. Now, if you're doing that intentionally, that's another story. If you're trying to connect with something and you think that's the way you're going to connect with that kind of energy, watch out what you're doing, But if you're just releasing your own inner frustrations and pent up emotions and letting that go so that you can get more balanced, I think it's a beautiful way of doing it.
Yeah.
Music and vocal.
It really is.
Anyway.
Yeah. And it's hard for people because even when you're a kid, you're edited, like, don't make a bunch of noise. Don't bother anybody, squash that. And here we're saying, no, do the opposite, express it, release it, let it out, because that's healing in and of itself and connection to the higher aspects of yourself as well. Yeah.
Have you, Laurie, ever looked in the mirror when you've done mirror work and seen something you don't like in the reflections of your own soul?
Yeah, why?
Because when I was young, I did that naturally a few times. And my mother, always being the Irish, superstitious, Irish devout Catholic that she was, would say to me,
fear-based religion.
Yeah, she would say to me, you mustn't ever do that. Don't you ever do that to yourself. Don't you ever look at your... And I'd be like, are you kidding? Because that's how I see a reflection of me that I don't like. And I'm like, ooh. And I'll say to myself, what are you doing? I know you, and I know that attitude, and I'm having none of it. And it'll lighten up,
Yeah.
But I've done that.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I do it all the time. I look at myself in the mirror and I like the way you look today. Your smile's great. Anything I can find positive to say about myself. Or I'll go, looking good, and I'll walk away. Or, you're having a good day today. And I'll talk to myself in the mirror. And that's that mirror work. And that's powerful too.
Okay, so here's my question. Let's say you're not having a so great morning.
Okay.
Let's say some things have been getting on you all day long. It's been slowly building, and you're like, and then you're washing your hands in the sink, and you look up in the mirror, and you see yourself, and you're like, oh crap.
That's when you need a good laugh. That's when you need
Agreed.
to somehow find a good laugh. And see yeah. Teresa's got her Woody Woodpecker. Oh boy.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
That's right.
Woody Woodpecker stuffy, man. Get down with your bad self.
I just say to myself, don't be a pecker.
That's half the show. Damn it.
That's funny. No peckers here. Hey, no pecker zone. All right.
My poor realtor. God bless her soul. My poor realtor. She is so cool. She is so sweet, so nice, and has a wonderful positive attitude. And she just happened to get me at the wrong time this morning. The wrong time. And everything that could go wrong was going wrong this morning. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to do that. And she calls right at the wrong, and she just says one thing and it set me off. And it wasn't her. It was me.
It was
I
you.
got set off because I had all this. So
Pressure.
afterwards, when I
Mhm.
was finished with what needed to be done, I sat out back for a bit, and I just whipped out Woody. And I was like, because I went up to the hardware store to get bags of mulch, and I'm sitting there, and I keep seeing Woody to give it to Ruby, but we just didn't spend the money on it. But today I could, and so I'm sitting there at the counter, and the girl's ringing me up, and I'm like, I want Woody, and she goes, what? You want a Woody? I said, I want Woody. This time I'm really gonna get Woody. So she goes, okay. So she reaches up and pulls down Woody. She goes, you want to know the price? I said, no, I don't want to know the price. I just need that Woody. And she goes, why? And I said, this is why. I did that in the mirror about 3 times when I got home. Ruby's like, isn't that for me? And I'm like,
It's cheaper than therapy.
Mhm.
Therapy, no
it
doubt
was
about it.
retail therapy in a really cool way.
That's funny.
So I did it. And you know what? I just laughed after that. And I'm like, oh, poor Renee. Renee, if you're watching, I love you.
You're the best, Renee.
You're the best, Renee. It was me. I was like,
Yeah. Cool. So don't forget to do your journaling, reflect on those thoughts and feelings. So like what Theresa has just expressed, she could write that all down in her journal, how she was feeling, how she transmuted that, how she changed the way she was feeling, how she recognized it. It's really important to understand that deeper part of yourself and to nurture that and to really work with yourself, just as you would another person, but yet you're turning that inside to yourself, and that comes into self-awareness.
yeah.
So pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, that physical sensations, to identify patterns and areas for growth. How can I transmute this? How can I look at this a different way? How can I change my perspective? Those are really, really powerful tools to unlocking that potential. And then also appreciation. Cultivate gratitude for the good things in your life. What's right? What's going on good? What made it such a great day? And have some appreciation and gratitude for that. And that can shift your perspective and foster positivity, because it's really all about connecting with the positive aspects, and kind of chasing away that negative dialogue that doesn't do you or anybody else any good. Also, too, nature walks. Spend some time in nature. That can be a powerful way to connect with your spirituality and find inspiration. And that'll also spark some creativity as well. You're a painter, you see a beautiful scene, go home and paint it.
Bob
Immerse
Ross
yourself
with your
into
dang
it.
self.
There you go. Do a little Bob Ross. Heck yeah.
Happy little tree, almighty mountains. Let's go,
I
Spirit.
love that. We'll just put a little cabin over here and we'll add some flowers. I mean, you're the architect. You're the painter of your own life's your life. You're
And
the
if
writer, director, producer, director, all of that.
Right.
You're the
And
one
if you
floating the
don't,
boat.
if
Just
you
don't
don't
be a
create the art,
dictator.
yeah, that's right. If
Yeah.
you don't create art, and it's not something that you normally do, you can daydream.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to sleep. You can just
Nope.
blank out, and you can create
Go to a happy
the
place.
environment that you want to create.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Seek
a
out.
cave with a waterfall, or a water slide in the waterfall, or maybe it's a tree house that you're going to add to the scenario, or you just build in the elements of exploration that you would do if you could do. And even if you have a physical disability like I do, I can barely walk some days. I'm getting better and better because I'm losing more and more weight, but I can get really locked up. But if you can't go anywhere or do anything and you're locked up, you can sit out there and just daydream and see yourself doing these things that you'd like to be able to do. And eventually you could probably will it into your existence. This is exactly what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah. And then I think, in my mind, one of the most important things you can do is seek out solitude, seek out opportunities for quiet reflection, in a natural setting. You may want to go out and watch the sunset every night and just watch the sun go down and see the earthly process and be a witness to that energy and be one with it and just reflect instead of doing the mindless thing of I got to do this, I got to do that, this task needs to be done. You're literally setting out and sketching out time for just you and the opportunity to just quiet the mind and reflect on the day. Or maybe you're an early riser and you like to get up and do all this before you even start your day, which is another really good way to do it. But these types of things are really, really important for unlocking that potential. And then to just recap, to unlock your spiritual potential, focus on practices like meditation, connecting with nature, engaging in creative activities, cultivate self-awareness, practice gratitude, seek a deeper meaning in your experiences, explore different spiritual traditions, engage with your community, and be open to new perspectives. And ultimately, unlocking your potential involves nurturing your inner self and aligning your actions with your values. So there's some tools for you, and hopefully it helps people and gives you something to think about, a different way to look at it, and a whole different type of experience for yourself. Mary Mansfield says, I think seeking solitude can be difficult for a lot of people. No doubt it is. It's easy to confuse being alone with being lonely, and that's not comfortable for many. That's correct. A lot of people do not know how to spend time with themselves. Yes, and that's something you're going to have to cultivate and work
That's an
on.
art form.
It really is.
Yeah,
I
And
thoroughly enjoy it.
It's addictive
It
because
is.
you'll get used to it, and then you won't want to people, and then you'll get pulled out of your Zen den, kicking and screaming like I did. Go to Camp Chesterfield.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, you know, some of those elements, some of those descriptions that Laurie had up there, you can do them individually or you can group them together. For example, community is a wonderful way, as you all know.
Mhm.
You've got what's going on there in Indiana, all those communities, and Gazakov is finding that out with the program he's pulling together, not unlike what Mark and Millie were doing. Mark Bright
Amazing
and
for Gary.
Millie.
What an
Yeah.
opportunity.
So you
That's
create a
divinely
community.
guided. You know, that's all divinely guided. And
Absolutely.
with the way that he's been shifting his energy, understanding his dreams, knowing what he wants, knowing what he doesn't want. I mean,
Exactly.
that's incredible for Gary.
But the activities that they're creating in these communities that they do is an outlet for mindfulness, creativity, all the different elements that you just described as a way of opening up and unlocking your potential. You can do it in a group setting in these communities, and that's what's so wonderful about the communities that you all belong to, like Camp Chesterfield and the Gem Store. And
Beloved Abstract
Relations,
says, I'd like to have someone to share it with, though.
Definitely.
But if you can spend time with yourself and share things with yourself, then you'll be a stronger partner for that other person when they do come into your life.
But this counts too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this definitely counts.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
This checks off community, creativity, and positive thinking.
Yeah, there you go.
And I missed each and every one of you. I mean, I was really psyched about getting back together tonight on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've missed
created
everybody.
a virtual space of camaraderie and friendship beyond what you've got at Camp Chesterfield, or different from what you have at All My Relations or whatever you're doing.
We're bringing people from all over the country, all over the world sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends in Australia. I mean, there's people all over watching this. And so we wouldn't be able to connect like this on the physical. So being able to virtually do it is really an amazing experience.
I know. I know. At least he still has his pants on.
Yeah, and Chloe says, you know, I enjoy our time here together, and we enjoy having you here. Absolutely. And it's a place where like-minded people can come together, even if you're not wearing your pants or, you know, Scotty boy. You know who we're talking about here. And beloved abstract, we love you too. We do. I just think you're awesome. And thank you for your honesty and your own feelings and how you feel about things. So, and you have that ability to share that here with no judgment. So awesome.
Hey, Courtney, good to see you.
Yeah. Hey, Courtney. How y'all doing over there? Good deal. So yeah, so we were kind of talking about a topic for next week, and I'm not sure how y'all feel about a group meditation. Is everybody up for a group meditation? And if you are, let us know in the comments. And also, if you have some ideas for the show, that would be great, or things that you'd like us to talk about, that would be wonderful too. I also thoroughly enjoyed our intuitive sessions that we did as well. I'd like to get into some of that maybe after sharing that intuitive aspects and what we pick up on you guys when that was a really good show and I enjoyed that. But Sophia has and is going to pull a card for us tonight.
Oh shit, I better get my deck.
Yeah, and she's going to give it a message for the whole group. So this pertains to all of us watching, and see what kind of message she pulls in. And
this is the brand new deck. This is the second.
Show us the deck. What you got?
All right, hang on. It's Celtic Tarot.
Ooh.
This is Christopher Hughes. He is a druid in England. And I actually had to buy another deck because I'm wearing the faces off of the one in my reading bag. So these guys are brand new. Come on,
wow.
Rooney, let's go. All right. Ha! All right, that's interesting. So Ten of Swords came out. Ten of Swords for me is overkill. It's thought and intention to the 10th degree, if you will. So when the Ten of Swords come out, that's like thinking a situation to its end. Like you have done and thought every conceivable avenue with whatever the question would be. But I would say this is kind of reflecting to what we said a little bit ago about doing the self-care, the self-work, things like that. Because if we choose not to use creative expression and release, the Ten of Swords is generally where some of us will find ourselves, and we can render ourselves useless, if we don't express, explore, and at least navigate some of the feelings and emotions that unfold for us on sometimes a daily basis. So I guess that would be Spirit's way of saying how important that aspect of this show is that self-care is not optional. If you want to be a healthy medium metaphysician person, okay.
Yeah.
So
can you pull one more card, because I feel it coming. Thank
same,
you.
Dude, same. I was getting ready. Can I get one
I
more?
love it.
I was going to ask
feel
the
it.
same thing. Yep.
Again, bartender. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. So, and this is a nice follow-up card to that. This is the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is about respite. Four is about foundational energy. Swords is about thoughts. So when you have those structured thoughts that you can actually build on, a lot of it comes with resting the mind so you can hear spirit, so you can have a conducive conversation with your higher self or whatever you're subscribing to healthy at the moment. So I love the Four of Swords because it has a lot to do with taking time out and see these rays coming down here. In this particular deck with the Celtic Persuasion, you have what's called Awen, which is source. So, and then it looks like the sun, which for me is a symbol for optimism and happiness. So sometimes we find our cloud nine not by doing, but by giving ourselves a well-deserved break. And so it is.
Yeah, and that four is really, when you talk about the stability, think about a table where you have four legs on a table that support the whole and makes it solid.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting that you pulled those cards. But yeah,
Mhm.
Theresa, I think you could identify with the first one too.
Oh, boy.
With the
Definitely.
getting lost sometimes in the details, but the devil is in the details, so to speak, and you got to
Mhm.
go
Call it
there, but
staying out
you
of the weeds.
don't have to be in the weeds.
I call it staying out of the weeds. And I tell you, the most challenging aspect it's not the physical environment that you're trying to change or the materials that you're using or the tools that you're using. It's the attitude that you have in response to things that don't go right or don't work the way you think they were supposed to work, or oh my gosh, that process is totally different than what I'm accustomed to and I don't feel comfortable. And so in order to move outside of the box, you have to think outside of the box. And the way you think outside of the box is to release those limitations that you put on yourself over the years through your own programming or whoever else may have had a hand in it. And so what you find out is that, hey, man, I don't have to be this way. I don't have to do this. I don't have
Choice.
to.
Yeah.
And
And
so we talked last time about, life is like, or Root has told me, my root source contact has said, look, you're flowing down a river of debris. Right now there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of thunderstorms in society, in the world in general, and everybody's upset, insecure, unhappy, afraid, maybe even dubious about the future. The end of the world is here. There's all these things going on. It's biblical, on and on and on and on. That's getting into the weeds for me because it allows me. Because what it does is it causes my energy and thought to shift the focus of what I'm really supposed to be doing for myself.
It's interesting that you're talking about that because I wrote this in my journal this morning. Don't worry about what could go wrong. Just be ready to shift when you need to.
That's it. That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
And if you can do it with joy in your heart, that's even better.
Agreed.
But human beings, being what we are, we're not always happy every 5 seconds, So
Hell
it's
no,
like
our
when-
culture tells us the opposite.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you? You gotta take
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta buy that.
Yeah,
Sorry, couldn't help it.
exactly. And so it's like, so that's the biggest lesson I think I've learned since we've been away on this break for the past, 6-7 weeks, has been finding myself, finding the root of my own self within, and the energy that I can unlock the potential to do and create just about anything I want or need or desire, just simply by letting go of by recognizing that I have a tendency to get lost in the weeds. And that I'm a crab. I'm very analytical, and I analyze data. I'm a data analyst by nature, and so I tend to ask too many questions. Like, it's okay to be a good researcher, but I tend to go down these rabbit holes, and it's like getting lost in the frickin' weeds.
If you are happy, healthy, and growing, get down with your bad self.
Yeah.
Because honestly, kind of to back up a little bit ago, it's like the different doctrines and whatnot. Part of the reason why Odin pursues knowledge to the degree and intensity is so that he can stay off the twilight of the gods or the Ragnarok. Be armoring yourself with the knowledge to get as much time at this, level of existence.
I want to know who defines what a weed is anyway. Who
That's what
says
Lucky's
some of the
saying.
weeds are pretty?
QVC,
This is
man.
what
They don't know
Lucky's saying
shit.
here.
Not that kind of weed, Scotty boy. Not
Yeah,
that kind
you
of
know
weed.
what's up. Like that little girl that went to school and said, yeah, we got weeds all over our house. And CPS shows up.
What I call weeds are not, I guess it was a metaphor for getting into entanglements that I don't need to get into. I'm creating entanglements. By asking so many questions, I'm actually creating something that doesn't need to be asked.
Yeah.
Because that's where your energy ends up shifting and the focus ends up going. And then when things don't get done the way you need them to get done, then you have only yourself to blame because you allowed yourself to get lost. And another way of calling it is you're floating down a river and there's all this debris around you, and Roots said
Just got to move it out of your way.
Roots said you just got to
Make
dodge
the
it. and move it around.
adjustments.
Yeah.
Mhm. Find
Yeah.
another way. Yeah.
And thank God, once in a while, I have good friends like you and Laurie in particular who will go, yo, over this way.
Cookie.
Get over this way. Avoid the tree limb. Don't hit the tree, George, you jungle.
Look out for that tree.
Look out for that
Yes.
tree, George.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Awesome.
it helps sometimes to have your community, your support group, you know, to
Mhm.
pull you back in, you know, when you get lost in all that.
I like to remember that it's a little soundbite that says everything works out for the best of me, right?
Mhm.
I have to always remind myself that because like last time they messed up on my order, I was eating a poke bowl, which is like a sushi bowl,
Mhm.
and I got boba with it, but I wanted a milk cap with my boba, and then sorry, my ear just rang. There was a voice that said,
Download.
"No, Jasmine, no." And I was like, but that's what I wanted. This is what I pictured all day. And for me, food is like a huge motivator. So I'm like, this was my reward for dealing with today was to go get my boba. And you're telling me I'm not getting my boba the way I want it. So I was about to get up and be like, hey, this is not what I ordered, right? I am that person. If I'm paying money, I'm going to get what I want because I'm paying for it.
Right.
Gets on Nick's nerves all the time. He's the type of person that he's like, they didn't give us ketchup. I guess we won't have ketchup. I'm like, no, let's get ketchup. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
So long story short,
I like that, Nick.
the voice in my
So
head.
we don't have ketchup.
I just feel like it's an inconvenience for them. Like, I'd be burnt out if I was working at a fast
Or you
food.
didn't get your
I'm not trying to
napkins.
make their day worse by showing how incompetent they are. But
I'm not mean about it. I'm just like, hey, can I have some? Like that's it.
Give my ketchup, damn it.
Exactly.
we got ketchup at home. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, he expects me to go home and wait, and I'm just like,
You're usually the one driving.
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, let me ask you this, Jasmine. Did you enjoy what you did get? Was it good?
Well, the thing is that my guides reminded me. They're like, Jasmine, every time you try mixing
Mhm.
sushi with something sweet, your stomach always gets upset. And I was like, that's so true. I forgot.
And
then
Spirit didn't want to set you up for that, did they?
No. So I got my wrong order, but it was looking out for me.
You got
That's
so
right.
the story that I'm trying to say is that if you always think that everything's working out for you, you'll start to see it that way.
That's right.
Yep. Things are always working out for you.
Exactly. Whether if you can't see it right down in that minute, take a breath, take a moment, and be like, how is this actually better for me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't see it right away, give it some time, and then you'll realize that it was a better option for you.
Right.
Yeah.
huge ascension growth for her, by the way, because old Jasmine would have bullheaded right through the tummy ache.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have been like, that's not what I wanted. I want what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have been like, oh, wait, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool. Fascinating story. I love it.
Well,
Well, listen, you guys, let's get into the final thoughts. So since we're on you and Nick, Jasmine, final thoughts for you
Go ahead.
about unlocking your potential. Any thoughts about that? Final thoughts for the show?
Ascension isn't always spiritual base.
Okay.
Like me right now, I'm going through physical ascensions. I've been working on the patio. We've been
Mhm.
house sitting cats. I've been working hard. What else have I been doing? A lot. I've just been doing. I'm tired, but
Mhm.
He's been doing a lot of things that he's not normally used to. So it's like he's been having growth in his life where it's not his strong suit. So it's
Mhm.
more being
But do you think it's strengthening you, Nick?
yeah, I know it's necessary. So I'm not
Mhm.
like mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
I want more money and a break though.
Yeah. Embrace it. Embrace it. Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've also been getting into stocks. I've been learning how to do that. I'm actually pretty good at that naturally.
Nice.
I made like $2,000 this month alone.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love my stock portfolio. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Cool. Jasmine, final thoughts for you?
I guess like the final thoughts that I'm getting about unlocking your potential is kind of like getting to know yourself, unlocking who you are or who you were or who you want to be. It's more about embracing your quirks, embracing your weirdness, embracing your normalcy, embracing your voice. It's more about embracing life, because I keep meeting people who want to ascend, but they do it in a way of rejecting their humanity. And it's like, I don't really vibe with that, because I feel like we're here on earth for a reason.
Mhm.
And if you weren't meant to enjoy life, food, human, like, you know what I mean, you wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
So to me, unlocking your potential for me is more about embracing your potential,
Ooh, I
because
like that.
I feel like we tend to stand in our own way. Like for me, I was standing in my way a lot because I held so much importance on logic and knowing things and being perfect and having to do, there's a right and a wrong. And I was like,
Guilty.
yeah, how Theresa says that, you get so attached to the outcome, but when you actually let that go and like let source take the I don't know, it's Christian-y to say, like
Yeah.
wheel, but
Yeah. I actually like that saying because it's so true.
it's
Let spirit take the wheel. Let them do some driving.
I didn't even know what it meant. To me, it was just like, that sounds reckless. Like, why would you know what I mean? Like,
It's that trust and faith in something, higher than yourself. Or you could look at it another way. You could say it's the highest aspect of yourself. Allow the highest aspect of yourself to kind of take the wheel instead of, beloved abstract, being the ego, allowing the ego to dictate everything. So
yeah, so I think that's when I started to unlock more of my spiritual gifts, is by embracing that potential and not having to have an answer for everything. I think with the upbringing that I had is that I was always over explaining myself. I always had to explain why I was doing something, what I was doing, blah, 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 because it's just the surroundings that I was in. But as I started to embrace myself, I didn't feel the need to have to explain what I'm getting that from, or explain why source is saying this, or explain why something is happening. It just is. And if you don't like it, then I have nothing else to tell you.
Yep. Agreed. I love that, Jasmine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah, lots of wisdom. How about you, Grandpa Brian? Final thoughts for today's show, Ascension, unlock your potential.
Unlock your potential. It's work. You can ask everyone on this panel. You have to put the work into it. It's not just going to fall into your lap.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start reaching your potential, you'll find out that not only does it benefit you, it benefits others, because you're able to help others because you're reaching your potential. It's like you're bettering yourself and you're bettering humanity. But you have to do the work. You just can't sit down and say, okay, unlock my potential.
Yep.
Make it happen.
Yep.
Oh no, it's still a work in progress for me, because I'm still unlocking. I know I have more potential than what I have, already unlocked. So it could be a process where, it just keeps going and you may not unlock
Happens
your full
naturally.
potential. Right. It
Mhm.
won't. You just put the work in.
With you,
Yep.
Brian, it happens naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
Yeah.
You fall into it and then you build on it and then you grow from it and you move on to another thing. I've watched you over the years, and it's just you get joy, such great thrills and joy from doing it. You're
Yeah,
not forcing yourself into a pathway. You're just going with the flow of your own experience. Like, wow, what was that? And then you start
Yeah.
looking into it, and then you start developing a skill set around it.
Right, because I'm putting the work in. Once I recognize,
Mhm.
okay, there's boom.
Yeah.
All right, so I need
Yeah.
to,
Yep.
and then that's when the thoughts and the snowball keeps rolling. But it's not like, oh, okay, yeah, it just
Folks
happened.
like you were some of my favorite employees to work with in human resources, because we could put you in any scenario or any situation and you would like find something
What's good
joyful,
about
or
it?
something, what's good about it, or
Yeah.
what's exciting about this, or this is weird,
Yeah.
this is different, let me explore it. And so you're a
Exactly.
perfect person to put into that scenario, because you just run with it,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to acknowledge this. Lucky Stone, ego is important. I absolutely agree with you. You need love your ego. I agree. Just don't allow it to be a dictator. That's all I'm
Right.
Yep.
saying.
Don't be a
Ego's
dick.
great, but don't be a dictator.
Don't be a dick.
Yep.
Awesome. Great. Sophia, how about you? Final thoughts for you, my
Oh,
dear?
it's my turn. Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of what Spirit was like giving me. Earlier it was find out what you are and why you're down here. For me, indications on what you are versus who would be astrology, numerology, and palmistry. Palmistry is generally it. Palmistry is your energy expressed in your hands. Lines in your hands change. The prints don't, but the lines themselves do. So find out what you are and why you're down here. And enjoy yourself. A lot of people get so hung up on, life and what it can turn itself into that they start surviving it and not enjoying it and living. And, there you go. Spirit said it, not me. Well,
There
I
you
said
go.
so
Right
there.
on.
And this is kind of what was trickling in a little bit ago. A gentle, loving reminder from Spirit. Earth is a place where the soul can go through rapid transformation like nowhere else in the universe. This is a very hard dimension to exist in, and there, in my opinion, in my experience, there are thousands, tens of thousands of souls waiting for a body. We have one. Quit
Yes.
playing around.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Ooh, well said.
And then the other thing here at the end, it says, embrace gently who you are. See, here's where the who part comes in. The what is what you're born into before you know who you are, right?
Yeah.
You don't know who you are when your birth chart drops in your lap. You don't figure that shit out for another 3 years, at least. Some people, 50 years. We're not going to put a name out there. It's rude. So they're basically saying, embrace gently who you are. You're the way you are for a very good reason.
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful. Well
whole
said,
world's
Sophia.
gonna kick your butt. Your whole world's gonna kick your butt. Don't do it to yourself. Phone a friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Phone a friend.
Yep.
I love that. That's
Because,
beautiful. I love it. Thank you, Sophia.
Yep. You know it.
Theresa, final thoughts for you?
Yeah, I'm going to sift out the things that she's already covered because she did it really well, and I've got a couple more.
Right on, man.
Well done.
We're kind of in sync on most of it. Here we go. What came in through me, and particularly from what I've been going through, and tonight when I'm hearing, and I started to talk to this about this to Laurie a couple days ago, but I think we grow up in a society sometimes where there's so much emphasis put on material things, that how you define success or how is by setting goals to make more money or setting goals to buy things, to get things. It's always about wanting or getting or needing something. And that's okay to have desires and dreams and hopes, but I'm talking about not being so superficial. It's like we're not taught to be happy for who we truly are and what we can truly do, not what society thinks we should do. You're a woman, you should have a family, you should raise babies, and you should be a good wife, or you have artistic leanings, so therefore you should be an artist. That's what you should do. You should be an artist. Well, maybe you don't want to be. Maybe you want to build buildings. Maybe you want to be a bricklayer.
Yeah.
So going after the things that really make you passionate, the things that really turn you on, as opposed to the things that superficial things that society is defining as a boundary for you, that this is where you belong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing that keeps you from unlocking your true potential, because it's too distracting. It takes you off course for what your soul purpose might really be for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Your soul purpose might not be here to be a bricklayer. Your soul purpose might be to be a care worker or a healthcare worker. Or just because your dad was a lawyer or your mom was a doctor or your sister was, doesn't mean you have to be. That's their path. That's what they chose to be. So focusing on what everybody else thinks you are or should be, or how you should live your lifestyle, that's letting someone define you to draw you into a box. And you're allowing that to happen by the way you let them treat you.
Mm-hmm.
The things that you put up with for as long as you do, because you convinced yourself that it was the right thing to do, because that's what people do.
Yeah.
No, you're abusing yourself through the process because you're allowing someone else to do it. So there are I wrote down some spiritual practices some people believe that the ultimate goal in life is to achieve something external, but to realize one's true nature is to actually connect with the divine being that you are from within.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of internal transformation, while achieving your dreams and goals, can lead to many external changes. Many times you will recreate yourself over and over. Understand that a purely external focus like this can miss your opportunity for your own personal transformation and genuine spiritual growth from within. I would never have been started channeling if it hadn't have been for the encouragement of friends like you, and particularly Laurie, for believing in me that I had the ability to do that, and it was a natural thing and I could have fun with it. And I do. So that's just one area. And since I've done that, I've helped other people.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a time in society where, and I think a lot of us, I'm of the school of believers, if you want to call it a school. I just have this knowing that the reason why a lot of us are probably here is because we chose to do it at this time because of what's going on right now. And so we're ushering in all of that light and love and energy. We can choose to let what's going on take us away from our goals, our true purpose, and get lost in the weeds, as I said earlier, or we can choose to activate our own code of light from within.
Whoop,
And
there it is.
you activate those codes by following your heart, by following your passion,
Your
and
bliss.
by not allowing other people to pull you off track and suck you into their psychosis or their negative energy. And I'm telling you, sometimes around here lately, it's a daily, if not several times a day kind of thing. And I've been getting frustrated and letting that pressure valve blow quite more often than I would like, although it has saved me from going completely crazy. So I think it's a good thing to not get lost in somebody else's goals and objectives and just stay true to your own goals and objectives. And then that way you can communicate that to others and maybe explain to them how you're doing it. And then they'll learn by seeing your example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not here to change anybody or influence anybody, but if somebody wants help or somebody is struggling like I was struggling all this time of just trying to find myself, I'm 65. And I'm like, you know what? I freaking retired. I filed for Social Security a couple weeks, about a month ago, and I doubled my income. Why? Because I needed it. Every time I've made a decision here lately, it's been because Spirit knew I needed it, but I didn't know necessarily what I was doing until I did it. And now I've got things lined up. I can only succeed the way I've got things lined up. I can't fail. I can't possibly fail. So I can't not believe in it. I can't stop believing in it. I believe everything's going to happen. But I'll get moments. And this one here, she'll say, stop it. You know, let go of that right this minute. You know, yeah, you're right. You're right. Because you don't nip yourself in the bud, you know, you'll go down the trail. You'll go into the weeds. So don't get lost in the weeds, folks.
Yeah.
And stay true to your heart. Follow your passion. Don't let anybody else tell you who you are, what you should be, or what they think you should do. And don't be afraid that it won't work, because you see that thought comes in.
Yeah.
I'm going to fail. This isn't going to work. Oh, that'll never happen. The minute you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong, will go wrong.
Thoughts are things. Energy follows thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
What if it does work? What if it
Yeah.
is great?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly.
I don't know what the outcome's going to be here yet, but I've got all these positive things lined up and everything's clicking, click, 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 click. You just got to manage your expectations and don't let yourself down if it doesn't go exactly the way you think it should go.
Don't be attached to the outcome.
And also, like Brian said, when you do the work, you'll receive the results you seek. So, got to do the work.
Amen. Yeah, there's
Final-
no cutting corners there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, final thoughts. I would just say be in love, be in joy, and be your true, authentic self. We'll just optimize it for you there.
There you go. I
Yeah.
do that all the time. You ever ready optimizer bunny?
Well, it was really good to be back. Glad to have you all here. Poor Nick's about ready to hit the hay. Brian needs to go. So we'll say good night to everybody. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget to make some comments. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week, okay? Love and light, everyone. Peace.
Later.
Peace. And thank you, Scotty boy.